I hope the United States Congress will act promptly on its resolution, because that will show that America is united behind this effort. And with that congressional resolution, then I think our efforts to get a UN resolution are strengthened. And I hope that this will all come about in the not-too-distant future, within a matter of days or perhaps a week or two.
The resolution I'm about to sign symbolizes the united purpose of our nation, expresses the considered judgment of the Congress, and marks an important event in the life of America. The 107th Congress is one of the few called by history to authorize military action to defend our country and the cause of peace. Congress has now authorized the use of force. I have not ordered the use of force. I hope the use of force will not become necessary. Yet confronting the threat posed by Iraq is necessary, by whatever means that requires.
Any resolution that comes out of the United Nations, I'm sure, will contain an indictment against Iraq, which we asked for. It will contain a new tough inspection regime, and it will make clear that Iraq will face consequences if they frustrate and violate this new inspection regime.
You know, I laid out a doctrine, and you just got to know it still stands. It said, either you're with us, either you love freedom and with nations which embrace freedom, or you're with the enemy. There's no in-between, and that doctrine still stands. If we get any kind of hint, any evidence whatsoever that somebody might be thinking about doing something to America, we're moving. We're disrupting. We're denying. We're doing everything we can to protect the homeland. Doesn't matter how long it takes. When it comes to the defense of our freedoms, we will stay the course. I believe out of the evil done to America is going to come some incredible good. I believe that we can achieve peace if we are strong and focused and diligent, if we stay tough when we need to be tough, stay strong when we need to be strong, speak clearly about good and evil. I know that if we remember our values, remember that freedom is not an America's gift to the world, freedom is a God-given gift to the world. If we remember that values. And that's why I went to the United Nations. I said to that august body, for the sake of keeping the peace, we want you to be effective. For the sake of keeping the world free, we want you to be an effective body. It's up to you, however. You can show the world whether you got the backbone necessary to enforce your edicts or whether you're going to turn out to be just like the League of Nations. Your choice to make. And my message to Saddam Hussein is that for the sake of peace, for the sake of freedom, you must disarm like you said you would do. But my message to you all and to the country is this: for the sake of our future freedoms and for the sake of world peace, if the United Nations can't act, and if Saddam Hussein won't act, the United States will lead a coalition of nations to disarm Saddam Hussein. And so the next step will be to put an inspection regime in there after all the declarations and after all the preamble to inspections, that he's got to show the world he's disarming. And that's where we'll be next. Judy.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said this afternoon that the UN Security Council vote tomorrow would bring the civilized world together against Iraq. But broad opposition remains all over the world to your policy. Will you continue to try to build support? If so, how will you do that? Or do you think that a Security Council vote would be all the mandate you need?
Yeah. First of all, broad opposition around the world not in support of my policy on Iraq?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think most people around the world realize that Saddam Hussein is a threat. And no one likes war. But they also don't like the idea of Saddam Hussein having a nuclear weapon. Imagine what would happen. And by the way, we don't know how close he is to a nuclear weapon right now. We know he wants one, but we don't know.
As the President has said, this is a fight to save the civilized world. This is a struggle against evil, against an enemy that rejoices in the murder of innocent, unsuspecting human beings. President Bush has often spoken of how America can keep the peace by redefining war on our terms. But for all the progress we've made in the war on terror, one thing is abundantly clear. Our nation is still in danger. There is also a grave danger that al-Qaeda or other terrorists will join with outlaw regimes that have these weapons to attack their common enemy, the United States of America. That is why confronting the threat posed by Iraq is not a distraction from the war on terror. It is absolutely crucial to winning the war on terror.
Does the United States have the evidence to know when Iraq presents its declaration? Will you be able to look at that and tell whether they're telling the truth and being forthcoming, or will you be able to tell right away that you're on a path to war with Iraq?
Well, the latter is, of course, a decision for the President, the Security Council, other countries to make judgments about. It's not for me. The United States knows that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. The UK knows that they have weapons of mass destruction. Any country on the face of the earth with an active intelligence program knows that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction.
The President has said that Iraqi cooperation is not encouraging yesterday, and Kofi Annan today says cooperation seems to be good by the Iraqis.
Is the glass half empty, half full?
Well,
I don't see that's a big deal.
You don't?
No.
Mr. Secretary? I mean, they seem to be doing what is being asked of them by inspectors, and by that, Kofi Annan says cooperation seems to be good. Why is cooperation not good?
You'd have to ask the President.
They're letting people in.
Maybe he's looking at intelligence that somebody else isn't seeing. I don't know.
This government will continue to lead the world toward more peace, and we hope to resolve all the situations in which we find ourselves in a peaceful way. That's my commitment, to try to do so peacefully. But I want to remind people that Saddam Hussein, the choice is his to make as to whether or not the Iraqi situation is resolved peacefully. You said we're headed to war in Iraq. I don't know why you say that. I hope we're not headed to war in Iraq. I'm the person who gets to decide, not you. And I hope this can be done peacefully. We've got a military presence there to remind Saddam Hussein, however, that when I say we will lead a coalition of the willing to disarm him if he chooses not to disarm, I mean it. The use of military force is this nation's last option. Yet if force becomes necessary to secure our country and to keep the peace, America will act deliberately. America will act decisively. And America will prevail because we've got the finest military in the world.